This is Extra Reps, a KSLA sports podcast with sports director Chris Demirdjian.
Hey, Lucas, we mentioned during the break, we're making history this afternoon here in Shreveport, Louisiana, the very first KSLA News 12 podcast. And we're honored to do it in sports, in the sports setting. Hey, my name is Chris Demirdjian. This is the very first episode of KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps. You can see it exclusively on KSLA.com, your streaming platforms, your Apple TVs, your Roku TVs, your Fire TVs, any kind of TV you have, you can watch anything, especially on your smartphone as well. I've got our good friend Lucas Morgan with us. Lucas, you're the longtime athletic director for LSU Shreveport. It's an honor to be with you this afternoon. Lucas, first thing, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I appreciate it. I like making history. So, I'm happy that you picked me to be on this first ever episode. I'm looking forward to it.
And what we were talking about, a while ago, you guys have made history yourselves for the last 2 decades. Something we'll get into just a little bit later on in the show. You probably ask yourself, what is extra reps, Lucas? It's not something we do in the gym. During a workout. Extra reps is something we can also do in a podcast form. We check in with the biggest playmakers, those who are on or off the court, whether it's athletic directors, whether it's players, coaches, just about anyone you could think of in the Architects. We're talking to them right here on KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps. Of course, our very first podcast episode. Have our good friend Lucas Morgan with us. We'll be chatting all throughout the Architects with any kind of programs, high school, college, semi-professional, you name it. But of course, here we get things started first with LSU Shreveport. Lucas, also a big week for you as well. You're a big Kansas City Chiefs fan.
I am.
Your Chiefs going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's been normal for us, though. So, it's nothing new. The only thing is that now we're playing the Dolphins, and unfortunately, Tyreek Hill's on the other side. We used him to win a Super Bowl. But, yeah, it's exciting.
I forgot about that, having Tyreek Hill on the other side now. That's got to be brutal as a Chiefs fan.
It just adds more motivation, doesn't it?
What are your outcomes? What's your prediction for this week?
The Chiefs have struggled a little bit over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but I think we're starting to get it back together. So why not? Win another Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely. Of course, Lucas. Success here for the Chiefs. Of course, kind of translates to the success you had here at LSU Shreveport. You've been there for about 7 years, and of course, we'll get into that your history here at LSU Shreveport, and we're going to talk more about that and the future of LSUS athletics in just a minute. You're watching KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps, a KSLA exclusive podcast right here on your streaming platforms and on KSLA.com. We'll have more with our friend Lucas Morgan, the Director of Athletics for LSU Shreveport, after the break.
We're all gonna die. Let's talk about it. Regardless of cost, funerals can be expensive for those unprepared. That's why the Allen Dave Insurance Group offers life insurance that can be used at any funeral home, any cemetery, anywhere. Because you can't afford to die without life insurance!
Accidents happen fast. Be prepared with the Allen Dave Insurance Group. Final expense and pre-need life insurance.
Call today before it's too late.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
This is big. The biggest leap forward ever in hearing technology. Introducing Genesis AI, the most advanced hearing aid from the experts at Starkey. Hear the difference and see a special presentation from the manufacturers at Better Hearing Systems of Northwest Louisiana. January 23rd and 24th at our Shreveport office, and 25th and 26th at our Bossier location. Call now to reserve your spot and save $500 on your Genesis AI system. That's right, $500 off just for calling. Only at Better Hearing Systems of Northwest Louisiana.
I'm Dr. Jason Dupree. Do you snore? Do you have a CPAP that you hate, or has your CPAP been recalled? If so, we can help.
Sleep better than ever with our easy-to-wear oral appliances that are comfortable, convenient, and custom fit specifically for you. We use state-of-the-art acoustic equipment that does not emit any radiation. Trust the team with 10 years experience and tell snoring goodbye.
So give us a call today at 318-797-1187 at Dupree Family Dental, where we're saving lives and marriages.
The sounds, sights, and bites of the Architects are getting the spotlight. Be the first to know what's happening around town and discover cool places you've never seen before. Get connected with Architects today. Weekdays at 3 on KSLA.
Each morning is never like the last one. Messy roads, messy weather, or maybe just a messy living room. So don't mess with your morning news. KSLA News 12 keeps you first aware, first alert, first thing in the morning.
This is Extra Reps, a KSLA sports podcast with sports director Chris Demirdjian.
thought we were going to have a little more activity.
And greetings. Welcome back to LSU Shreveport. We're on location here in the Dock. Yeah, this place called the Dock. It's where a lot of magic and memories happen for LSU Shreveport basketball. I have our good friend Lucas Morgan with us. This is our very first episode of KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps. We're making history here at the Dock. Of course, a lot of history made over the years, as we just mentioned. Lucas, the growth of LSU Shreveport. You've been here since 2016. You've seen a lot of growth for LSU Shreveport, not only on the court, off the court, on the field, off the field, but let's talk about the program overall. What kind of growth have you seen personally year to year with the athletic program since you've taken over the department years ago?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that, you'd say 7 years. It's about 7.5 now, going into the 8th year. So, to think that got here in 2016 and there was a ton of success that was here before I got here. And, I got to give a lot of credit to Chad McDowell and, unfortunately, now the late Doug Robinson. Those guys came before me and had really been instrumental in creating, what we are here. So when I took over in 2016, we really wanted to focus on what can we do to kind of take the next steps. There have been a lot of conference championships that have been won. The programs were in a pretty good place, but we knew that if we wanted to get to kind of that next step, that national championship level, which is ultimately the goal that we're trying to achieve, where do we need to focus? So we spent a lot of time really focusing on the facility side of things, increasing the budgets, and then making sure that we were really putting ourselves in a position to kind of take that next step. So we immediately started putting money into the facility side. We knew that adding programs like soccer, which was the first program that we added, we knew that was going to really kind of help us take that next step to grow. Only having 6 sports, the sports that you really need are those, predominant sports, the basketballs, the baseballs, the soccer. So it was important for us to get there. So that was kind of the direction that we went. We got the right coaches and the right people in the position, and, here we are.
Lucas, I was here many years ago when a lot of tears were shed in the Student Union building when soccer was actually cut from LSU Shreveport years ago. I think back 2012, 2013, I believe.
Yeah.
How important was it for you to bring soccer back to LSU Shreveport?
It was important. Soccer is a big sport here in the South. So we needed that to really kind of establish that solid foundation that the previous people have been able to start for us. So when we brought soccer back in 2017, the first 2 coaches had a lot on their plate. We hired them in January, season started in August, so they really only had a few months to put a full team together. And in that first year, we put ourselves in a championship position, and then, looking at now, 5 or 6 years later, we've won several conference championships in soccer. We won our first national tournament game on the men's side this past year and really have put ourselves in a solid position.
And, of course, that success doesn't just translate over to soccer as well, of course, or translate over to soccer as well, but it translates over to basketball, where you've had a lot of success. We've been talking before the show, where 19 straight appearances in the national tournament, something that's kind of unheard of in any kind of sport. You think of Duke, North Carolina, but it's happening here in our backyard. 19 straight appearances for basketball. How important is it to kind of get the word out there about how successful this basketball program really is? Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And I think sometimes, especially here, we take for granted the success that program has had because. I was telling you earlier, the national tournament last year, we played a team from Georgia. It was their first ever appearance in the national tournament, and we were walking into our 19th straight appearance in the national tournament. So I think it's important for us, as an athletic department, to make sure that the people in the community know that we've got that elite of a program that's sitting here playing right behind us.
And you mentioned, success, baseball as well. Another team has been to the tournament 19 straight years. Something that's kind of ironic, isn't it? Having basketball and baseball go to the national tournament 19 straight years. The success of the baseball team, rather. How does that happen each and every year, Lucas?
Yeah, and it starts with the foundation. When Rocky Musgraves came in here originally and kind of got that thing going, took them to a couple World Series, and then we had a couple coaching changes of 2 really, really solid coaches. And then Coach Neffendorf that we've hired here, I think we hired him in 2019, came in and elevated us. He had just come off a national championship himself. He knew the players to get. He knew what needed to happen to be able to kind of take that next step. We go to back-to-back World Series. Again, as I told you, baseball and basketball, both, 19 consecutive trips to the national tournament. I don't think, and I can't guarantee it, but I don't think there's another program at any level from the Division I down that has done that.
That's incredible stuff. And the one thing I noticed that is recruiting too. Everyone loves getting the word out there about LSU Shreveport. That pipeline at LSU Shreveport, and that's come from Canada. You always see a lot of Canadian talent come from the LSU Shreveport baseball program. How important is it to have that pipeline come from Canada over to Shreveport.
And you do. You know, we love to recruit locally. It's important to have those local kids that have that good talent, because as you and I talked, there's so many talented kids that are in the local area that are doing some incredible things and making it to the highest level. But to be able to recruit nationally and really internationally, I think is what's taken us to the next step. We've got several Canadians, we've got some Dominican players, we've got players from California, from New York, from Florida, from all over the world, really in all sports, not just in the baseball program. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've continued to be able to maintain that level of play.
That's incredible stuff. Of course, we'll chat more with Lucas Morgan, our good friend, the Director of Athletics for LSU Shreveport Athletics here at LSUS. We'll talk more with Lucas at more of our very first podcast, making history here at the Dock. My name is Chris Demirdjian, the Sports Director at KSLA. That's Lucas Morgan. We'll have more of KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps right here after the break.
Bringing your creative visions to life at the Shreveport Sewing Center. Learn something fun and new at one of our classes and workshops for all ages and skill levels. At the Shreveport Sewing Center, 1 mile west of I-49 at 645 Bert Coons.
Mom always said she didn't want to be a burden on us. Before she passed, she made us promise that she would be cremated and that it would be as affordable as possible. That's why I'm so glad she found cremationtribute.com. Their helpful website made the process so easy, and with direct cremation for as low as $11.95, it really was exactly what she hoped for. Plus, I know they took compassionate care of our family. cremationtribute.com. Simple, caring, and professional.
Looking for the best for your children? Legends Learning Center at Little Union is here to help. Children learn by doing, and here they're given the opportunity to explore, experiment, and to enjoy God's beautiful world around them in a safe, structured, and nurturing environment. Want to check on your child throughout the day? You can always take a look inside with your own secure login to our video monitoring system. If you want to provide an opportunity for your child to grow, call us today. Legends Learning Center at Little Union, where legends are cultivated.
Bringing your creative visions to life at the Shreveport Sewing Center with our popular baby lock sewing and serging machines like the new Solaris. At the Shreveport Sewing Center, 1 mile west of I-49 at 645 Bert Coons.
Mental health, it's about time that we start talking about it more. I am so incredibly thankful that our station is prioritizing that this is a real life issue that is plaguing this city. People are suffering out there. And the fact that KSLA is saying we need to talk about this means everything to me.
Mind Matters coverage on KSLA News 12 is sponsored by Brentwood Hospital. This is Extra Reps, a KSLA sports podcast with Sports Director Chris Demirdjian.
Hey, welcome back to KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps, our very first podcast. We're doing it on location at LSU Shreveport in this very storied arena called the Dock. It's like the Cameron Arena, like the Duke Cameron Arena of Shreveport, Louisiana. In our backyard, all the success of the basketball program we've had for LSU Shreveport. Hey, speaking of success, there's a lot of success you've had off the field, community efforts as well. What's it been like being able to reach the community and further expose the LSU Shreveport brand to the market, to the world, essentially, with all the success you all have had on the field of play?
Yes, we take a three-tiered approach with a lot of the things that we do. I mean, obviously, classroom is most important. That's why they're here. They're students, so we want to make sure they graduate and do well. Championships are the competition side, but the community is that three-tiered approach that we take. It's that other side that, you know, not a lot of athletic departments, I think, really focus as strongly as we do on. It's important for us to be out there. We know that in Shreveport, we need those positive vibes. So if we can go out and we can do those things in the community and we can encourage some people, it's really important. I mean, High Five Fridays, you know, that's been kind of the biggest initiative that we've focused on over the past year. And that's us sending our student athletes to a different school. We pick a different school every single Friday. We go out there, we encourage the kids, slap hands with them, hand out some tickets, and really try to get them out here, because we found that once people get here, the fan-friendly, the family-friendly environment that we create is something that's been really important for us and something that's been positive.
Who's the hardest hand slapper? Is it you, Coach? Who slaps hands the hardest?
You know, I don't know. I don't think we've ever had that challenge. We can definitely do that.
Not today. My hands hurt today. Not today, please.
But we've got some coaches who slap some pretty hard hands, so we may have to go to the different schools where we've been and ask those kids who does it the hardest.
Just tell Coach Blankenship, just slap a little lightly for me, please. Just slap a little lightly for me. Hey, obviously, Coach, we mentioned we interviewed earlier this, or I should say last year now. We're in 2024 now, hard to believe. But this past summer we interviewed because you were honored again by the Red River Athletic Conference and the NAIA. You won the Athletic Director of the Year for the second time in 4 years, just something that's a rarity in college athletics. Lucas, how does one get to that point where you're winning Athletic Director of the Year 2 times in 4 years?
Yeah, I'm definitely honored. I'm honored to receive that award, to represent the conference on a lot of national boards as well, which I think plays a factor into it. But really, it's about creating a strong team. You know, you can't do anything by yourself. You look at our basketball team, nobody's going to go out there and score 100 points when we're going to win the game. You got to do that together. It's the same from the administrative side. We've got 3 great administrators that work with me, and then I really feel like we've established a very strong coaching staff. We've got some of the best coaches in the country who take that culture that we've built, pass it on to the student athletes, and bring that winning mentality. So when you get all those people rowing in the same direction, you know, it translates to awards, and fortunately I've been able to be awarded for a couple of those things. You know,
I've spoken with countless athletic directors over the years, but, you know, Lucas, what you're building here is so special. You know, you never really see a whole program doing great from all around. But, Lucas, what does it take to build a great program internally?
And that's the goal. You know, you look at some of the departments, some of the schools across the country, and they focus on 1 or 2 sports. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that all 6 of our varsity sports that we have are all competing at the highest level. So we've tried to allocate resources into those areas. We've tried to get the right coaches. You know, I've had the opportunity to be able to hire every single coach, every single person in our athletic department, except for Coach Blankenship, who's been our men's basketball coach, who's our veteran, who's doing all kinds of great stuff, coaching 2 of our teams right now, which I'm sure we can talk about.
Yes.
But that's really what it's about, is making sure that you get the right people in the right positions, and then getting the resources. I've always felt like, as an athletic director, the most important thing for me and my job is to make sure that I'm getting the resources to our coaches, our programs, to be successful.
And that being said, speaking of Coach Kyle Blankenship, you know, what was that conversation like when you told him, hey, we need you to lead both the men's and women's team this year?
I think he was a little surprised when I called him and asked him to come to my office, because, you know, that's a tough thing to be able to do, to really go a week before the season and go, okay, what are we going to do? You know, we've had a coach that unfortunately had to leave for family reasons. So instead of going out and trying to find somebody, we went, all right, who do we have internally that can take over the reins, that can have those success? And when you've got a veteran coach like Kyle, who has had a ton of success, I don't know if you can see the banners in the back, but there's a ton of conference championship banners, 2 Final Fours, several Coach of the Years. I just went to him and I said, Kyle, I need you to help me out here. And without skipping a beat, let's do it.
How do you work with a coach like that? Say if, you know, maybe there's a tournament where there's a game where, you know, he can't be in 2 places at once. How does that work? Fortunately, we've only had that happen once, and twice. The other one was an exhibition against UL, so, you know, that wasn't as important because it didn't go against our record. But we've got assistant coaches who are able to step up and handle it. And the one time that it did happen, our men were playing over in Waxahachie against Segu. Our women went over to Mississippi and played against Rust. We had our two women assistants. They were the ones that were in charge of that game. And then Kyle jumped in the car the next day, met them in Little Rock, Arkansas for our second game. So we may potentially run into that again here at the end of the season at the national tournament. I've been trying to pull some strings and work some things out to be able to get both our teams at the same site for the national tournament opening round. But, you know, if we get to a point where Kyle can't coach both, we'll do the same thing, and I have all the confidence in the world that our assistants can help lead us. You know, Lucas, one thing I really admire about you, this is one that we heard about when we did our interview this past summer. You know, you're not looking to move up. You're not trying to be the next Auburn, not trying to be the next Alabama athletic director. You're fine in your own skin. You're fine doing what you're doing here at LSU Shreveport. Lucas, what makes this job so special to you? Well, you got to be where your feet are at. And, you know, we've continued to talk about the history and the tradition, the foundation that's been built. And I think that, to me, is one of the most important things, is that when you're in a department that wins and you're in a department that does things the right way, it's easy to stay here. You know, and we're such a big part of the community. My wife has a great job. She's super involved. My son plays basketball, soccer, and baseball, so he's involved in the YMCA and the Little Leagues and doing all those things. And I think that's what's made it really easy for us to stay here, is that we have become a part of the community. And once you're a part of the community, it's hard to leave. I definitely see that. Lucas, one thing I've really noticed as well, we mentioned how you're a big family guy as well. How important is it to have a job where you can be around your family? You mentioned you're coaching your son's basketball team as well. How important is that?
It is important. And, my All-American, my top recruit that I've had is my wife. And she understands what it's like to be married to somebody that works in athletics, because there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of late nights. I'm going to be here until probably 10 or 10:30 at night. So she's not even going to see me until probably 11 o'clock at night. So it's important to have the support system from the family if you're going to work in a field like this, because people see all the glitz and the glory of being able to win championships and cut down nets, but they don't see all the hours that go into getting to this point. And if you've got the right people that are backing you and supporting you, and my son's the same way. He loves coming to the games. He's a huge Pilot fan, and he knows that sometimes Dad's not going to be here until late at night. Sometimes I don't get a chance to tuck him in at bed, and that's hard, but I've got that support, and they understand.
That's awesome, Lucas. Well, more with our good friend Lucas Morgan, Director of Athletics for LSU Shreveport, after the break.
Bringing your creative visions to life at the Shreveport Sewing Center. Learn something fun and new at one of our classes and workshops for all ages and skill levels. At the Shreveport Sewing Center, 1 mile west of I-49 at 645 Bert Coons.
Mom always said she didn't want to be a burden on us. Before she passed, she made us promise that she would be cremated and that it would be as affordable as possible. That's why I'm so glad she found cremationtribute.com. Their helpful website made the process so easy, and with direct cremation for as low as $11.95, it really was exactly what she hoped for. Plus, I know they took compassionate care of our family. cremationtribute.com. Simple, caring, and professional.
Looking for the best for your children? Legends Learning Center at Little Union is here to help. Children learn by doing, and here they're given the opportunity to explore, experiment, and to enjoy God's beautiful world around them in a safe, structured, and nurturing environment. Want to check on your child throughout the day? You can always take a look inside with your own secure login to our video monitoring system. If you want to provide an opportunity for your child to grow, call us today. Legends Learning Center at Little Union, where legends are cultivated.
Bringing your creative visions to life at the Shreveport Sewing Center with our popular baby lock sewing and serging machines like the new Solaris. At the Shreveport Sewing Center, 1 mile west of I-49 at 645 Bert Coons.
Mental health, it's about time that we start talking about it more. I am so incredibly thankful that our station is prioritizing that this is a real life issue that is plaguing this city. People are suffering out there. And the fact that KSLA is saying we need to talk about this means everything to me.
Mind Matters coverage on KSLA News 12 is sponsored by Brentwood Hospital. This is Extra Reps, a KSLA sports podcast with sports director Chris Demirdjian.
Hey, welcome back to KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps, our very first podcast with the Director of Athletics, Lucas Morgan. Hey, Lucas, about 10 seconds real quick. Big night tonight versus Jarvis Christian, right?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Should be 2 wins.
Yeah, tip-off for the women's game at 5:30. Tip-off for the men's game immediately after, around 7:30. It should be around 7:30, 7:35, around that time. We'll have all that for you tonight at 10 o'clock right here on KSLA News 12. For Bubba Knight, our good friend Lucas Morgan, Sasha Percival, and Jane Rubin, thanks for joining us right here on KSLA News 12. Join us next Thursday at 2:30 right here for KSLA News 12 Sports Extra Reps.